My dear friends, hello and welcome back to Tales of Praxis. I'm Aaron Suduko, the founder of withaterriblefate.com, your online publication source for all of the most rigorous and passionate analyses of your favorite video game stories. Tales of Praxis is a streaming series and series of analytical articles published in With a Terrible Fate that we started a few months ago to dig into, explore, and celebrate specifically Namco's Tales JRPGs, the way that the series works together, what different games in the series say about each other, and how we can come to understand them in new ways if we look at them in relation to the overall series as opposed to just in a vacuum, and also how we can see their impact in video game storytelling more broadly. It's such a pleasure to have you joining us here on this Wednesday evening, potentially to finish Tales of Zestiria. It will be interesting to see how many side quests we have left, because I'm pretty confident after the last stream that we are on our approach to the final confrontation. But as we've also noted before, there are definitely at least a few side quests waiting in the wings for us to wrap up or attempt to wrap up. And I don't think on my previous playthrough of this, I went through all of them, so I'm not even sure what that will consist in, but we're going to try. And hopefully we'll either be concluding Tales of Zestiria tonight or on Friday night at the same time, which will put us in a great position rolling into the coming week to dive into its DLC, Elysia's story, and then roll into its prequel, Tales of Berseria, after that. It was a wild ride of a stream on Monday. We started off with a lot of extemporaneous discussion of the value of studying things you're passionate about and the value of literary interpretation of video games and literary theory and criticism more broadly. And then we rolled into really the final motions before the climax of Tales of Zestiria, or I guess depending on how you're reading the game, you might even call what we played through on Monday the climax, and maybe what we're going to next is the resolution in some senses. But we faced off against a bunch of the key big bads, some of whom have been with us since the very beginning of the game. Lunar, but also Symonne, Heldalf's underling, a more recent addition to the brood of villains. And then somewhere in the middle, Maltran, Elysia's mentor, who was very clear finally after being cagey and hiding her intentions from Elysia for the whole game about why and how she had been manipulating Elysia really since Elysia's childhood, and we saw Elysia's vulnerability in that moment, all leading up to the pretty epic and inspiring war between Highland and Rollins, where everyone on all the sides, including even the mercenaries from way back in Marland, were able to band together and put aside their differences in defense of humanity for the sake of helping Saray and his seraphim and his squire overcome Tiamat, the dragon who manifested as kind of the final embodiment of all of the malevolence on the battlefield. Now the way seems to be clear to Camlann for the final confrontation against Heldalf. Oh, we also had the wonderful, iconic heart-to-hearts between all the characters in the party. We talked a little at the very end of the stream about how that was kind of an interesting structure for that evening before the final battle moment in a Tales game, and it was a little different from what we would expect in terms of how it was focalized through supporting characters as opposed to primarily focusing on the main character within the party, but how that was really in keeping with the way in which the Saray, the shepherd Saray brings together people with diverse interests and backgrounds from across the world. I was thinking a little bit more about that because one of the motifs that we didn't really talk about that much in that night before scene is the stars. And I think at one point or another, Saray points to and talks about the stars in terms of representing all the people from across the world and also giving them comfort that they all look up and see the same sky. I was thinking the stars are an interesting metaphor too, since so much of this game is about not only what you see through your senses, but also how you interpret and understand what you see, because there are these kind of two distinct and importantly related questions in Zestiria of, in the first place, whether humans can see seraphim and hellions, and then in the second place, if they can really understand the nature of malevolence and what it means to be purified. So kind of metaphorically see the hellions and the seraphim for what they are. And I felt like the game wasn't explicit about this, but it seemed like a really nice symbol to bring in the stars, especially as one thinks of things like constellations and how we navigate according to stars, because on the one hand, stars are these lights in the sky that everyone can look up and see, but on the other hand, whether you're navigating by them or reading the constellations, interpreting astrological signs, there's a lot of meaning that brings together and unifies various people across the world through the stars, which are not self-evident. You're not going to look up at the sky and see Orion's belt until someone points that out and explains it to you. Similar to the distinction between what it is to just be able to engage with seraphim through your senses versus actually understanding kind of the moral universe of this world and how it relates to people's emotions and intentions and their willpower and agency, which we also talked about last time a little bit. I think that sufficiently sets the stage for where we are now, heading out of, which town were we in? Heading out of Glastonbury, I think. I can't find it here. It was Glastonbury. Just took me a minute to remember. Heading out of Glastonbury in the middle of the night, which was also kind of a different but nice touch, I felt like, in terms of how the final battle relates to the intimate moments between the party the night before, because typically everyone has those conversations and then goes to sleep and gets rested and then kind of resets in preparation for the final battle the next morning. So it felt really consistent with Soray's kind of happy-go-lucky, go-get-'em positive attitude to take all of that positive energy from everyone having their conversations and say, no, I don't want to wait. I want to head out like this and go to the final battle. I really enjoyed that part of it too. Other quick things I wanted to call out before we jumped in, with an eye to starting more promptly than we did on Monday. One thing, actually, I'm embarrassed a little bit and I want to correct myself, and this just speaks to how much I guess I want to and need to learn about King Arthur lore, which just speaks to the value of JRPGs like this, because Tales of Zestiria takes a lot from Arthur and in fact is inspiring me to want to learn a little bit more about him, kind of in the same way that Tales of the Abyss made me want to learn about Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism more broadly from the analysis that I conducted of it. But I think, if memory serves, when I was talking about Camlann before, when the name of that town in Tales of Zestiria started being used, I suggested that it was kind of like just a JRPG fantasy version of the word Camelot to kind of allude to Camelot and King Arthur and the Round Table without like directly using the word Camelot. That's wrong in a few ways though, because we saw earlier in the playthrough, and we did talk about this when it happened, that there's Camlann, and then they also do actually talk about and have a reference to Camelot, the Great Camelot Bridge. So it's not as if Camlann is just their own kind of corrupted version of that word. But then also, when I was Googling earlier to make sure I had the name of Camlann right for the title of this stream, I realized something that I didn't know about King Arthur lore, which is that there actually is a Camlann of the same spelling in the King Arthur story. So it's very much a direct and intentional allusion, because without going too far into it, because I haven't gone too far into it myself, but I want to look into it more, the Battle of Camlann is, I guess, known as kind of a common point in a lot of the different tellings and retellings of King Arthur mythology, and some believe it to be a historical battle that took place which was basically the conclusion of King Arthur's saga, where he fought and ultimately either died or was fatally wounded, depending on whom you ask and what version of the story you're looking for. So, like I said, it definitely incentivized me to research that more. It's also very telling for those of us who haven't played the game before, as a sort of foreshadowing that we're going to the conclusion of the story, or we're going to the conclusion of Soray's journey, and that journey is leading us to arrive at a place that is named after not just the end of King Arthur's story, but in fact King Arthur's death and demise. And we got some of that new discussion in the last stream too, about what it might take for Soray to actually basically rehabilitate Nautelus's blessing in the world if he ends up being able to kill Heldalf, and that might require him to become Nautelus's vessel in a way that would suspend Soray in time and kind of withdraw his senses from the world until a point where the blessing is took and Nautelus has sufficiently regenerated. So, high stakes. What else is new in the final act of a Tales game? But without further ado, let's dive in and see where the story takes us next. Welcome to the stream. Now, the real question is, we're heading out of town at an unusual time. Do we have access to the side quests yet, or do we have to reach Camlann first and then go back to them? Oh, okay, so it looks like even though we left under the cover of night, we do have access to seeing through these side quests now, whereas we didn't when the war between Highland and Rollins was coming to a head in the last stream. So let's see if there are any of these we can knock out before we go to the final confrontation. There was a signal from Roche. Remember, this is about the kids, the bandit kids who had been hanging out around the Hidden Bones' old base, and then we found them slaughtered, I think, presumably by Hellions. And so we were trying to uncover more about that, if memory serves. Alright. Let's see if we can wrap one side quest up. To Falquin Hillside. Oh, the other thought I wanted to share, just because I was thinking last night about the trajectory of Tales of Praxis and how it's kind of representative of, and in some ways not yet representative of, my overall experience with the Tales series. And one thing that struck me as kind of interesting, and then we'll dive into the side quest, is if you look at the games that we've played, the first one was Tales of Symphonia, but then we had its sequel, Dawn of the New World, and now we have Zestiria. And I feel like across those games, there's much less involved in selecting which characters from the story are going to be part of your battle party. That's certainly part of Tales of Symphonia, which has 9 total characters to choose from for battle, up to 8 in your party at any given time, because Kratos and Zelos kind of share a slot. But then in Dawn of the New World, yeah, there was party selection in terms of, which monsters do you want to bring, and do you want to add an optional guest star of someone from the original Tales of Symphonia party. But really, as we talked to death during that stream of that game, the party and the progression and the story in large part was about the relationship between Marta and Emil. And so crafting your battle party, at least for me, in terms of the way I think about it and play it, was very secondary to that. I just always knew, all right, it's going to be Emil and Marta because the game's about them, and then I'll swap in whichever monsters make sense at a given time, because I can always count on having my monsters as opposed to the other Tales of Symphonia party members who come and go throughout the game. And then now in Tales of Zestiria, you kind of don't get that much of a choice of who's in your party, because you always have Soray, it's the shepherd's journey. Then you'll often or typically have one of his squires, and you don't have, as far as I can tell, any control over which, if either of them you have. And then you kind of, in terms of how the battle system is designed, have to include all of the Seraphim in your party, because if they're not on the battlefield, then they're benched. And as we've seen, progressing through the story, a big part of how you gain facility with the combat, and a big part of the way that Saray is able to overcome these challenges and battles, is by dynamically swapping in and out all of the Seraphim, and sometimes combining with them in the Armatus, sometimes playing separately. And so there's not really, at least as in the way that I've been playing it, any kind of deliberation on whom do I want in my active battle party in the way that you get in a Tales of Symphonia. Granted, you can choose which Seraph to start out as default bonded with Saray in battle, but that's super different than the idea of selecting characters who are going to be in your battle party, and which characters you're basically never going to see or interact with in combat. Just think about this kind of system in contrast with what I talked about in the Tales of Symphonia playthrough, of how surprisingly rewarding it was to include Presea and Regal in the party at the same time, because you get the idea through battle of them bonding with each other and supporting one another, and that's also reinforced by the EX gem skill that Regal has that specifically boosts his attributes if Presea is in the party. So a very different feel, and that was kind of surprising to me as I was sitting back and thinking about it, because I feel like if someone were to ask me what are things that really stick out to you as representative of the Tales series, I would say a big part of what I remember is crafting my battle parties out of all the available playable characters, and sometimes switching them out for different reasons or circumstances across the course of the story. But that's huge in Tales of Symphonia. That was huge for me in thinking through my Tales of the Abyss playthrough, even Tales of Destiny. I haven't played Tales of Graces in a while, but I remember it as similar. So I'm hoping, and my memory of Tales of Berseria is that we get those like battle party selection mechanics back in a way that this game doesn't have them. But I can't swear to that because I haven't played Berseria since it came out either. But we will find out soon enough, because we will be diving into that. But it was interesting to sit back and think about how the majority of the games we've played seem to have these characteristics that are distinctly unlike what I consider the norm for the series. It just gives you an interesting perspective on the way the party relates to each other then, perhaps in comparison with the relationships between party members in other Tales games, or even other JRPGs more broadly. I feel like party selection is a pretty big part of a lot of JRPGs.
Huh? What's up with the two of you?
We were going to report to you about two separate incidents.
But it looks like they're related. What do you mean? I had some info about the Romano firm. The owner, Romano, is supposedly an art connoisseur. People who went bankrupt offered him their prized arts as collateral for relief.
Mine was about the children of the vagrant hunters. Apparently, their targets were carriers hired by those bankrupt families. So the stolen goods were works of art to be taken as collateral for Romano.
Could that be just coincidence?
Everything happens from the interrelated strands of coincidence. But behind every hint of self-interest is an intention.
Right.
Romano claimed breach of contract, saying he didn't get the goods and gave a final warning. That's why so many have had to file bankruptcy. And what happened to the artworks? He's taken them all for himself.
So this was all a scheme for him to get
I
his
smell a malevolent rich
Can't
person.
be held accountable if there's no evidence, right?
The only evidence there is would be the group of children who attacked the carrier.
So that's what he meant by destroying the evidence. That no good, lousy son of...
All right, I'll go find out myself.
My dog Evie is clearly very upset at this revelation too.
Be careful.
He must have bodyguards too. Roger. You two keep investigating. Hey,
I'll go too.
thanks.
I love this kind of side quest structure, and I think modern JRPGs are finding all kinds of new cool ways to lean into this, but the idea that in a JRPG like this, where you have this one overarching idea of this grand kind of evil, whether that's malevolence or some other kind of corruption. The idea in the story is that it can kind of take many different shapes. Wow, another one of these tricked me. That overarching corruption can take many different forms depending on, like, individuals and the way that those individuals manifest corruption. And I think one cool way to tell a story that shows a lot of depth to those core concepts of corruption while also maintaining a clear focus in the narrative is to have the events of the main story, so the stuff that you have to go through from beginning to end to roll credits on the game, be focused primarily on just the overarching corruptive force itself. So in this case, the Lord of Calamity and Heldalf, but then have a bunch of different side quests and optional paths you can go down that give you individual, more intimate portraits of how that corruption can manifest throughout the world, which strikes me as what this side quest we're working on now is leaning into this idea that, you know, here's a picture of a corrupt, wealthy merchant who's bleeding out the rest of the world for the sake of his own profits through this art scam. Kind of get the best of both worlds in that sense, because you get a diversity and a wide swath of different manifestations of the game's core themes to explore, but also since it's all side content, you as the player have to elect to explore it and kind of excavate the secrets of the world in the same way that Saray, as someone who's archaeologically interested, wants to excavate the secrets of his world. And so I think because of that, if you end up taking the time to really invest in it and dig into all those little side quests, it ends up being all the more substantive and rewarding for you. That's my hope, at least, so let's see if that bears true from the side quest. I saw a field boss Hellion up there, which, I mean, I guess based on where in the world we are is very underleveled, but I wanted to tag up on the save point just in case. Better safe than sorry, as they say. Horus! Oh, only 24. Hopefully this will pose no issue whatsoever.
What brilliance!
It's got such an intimidating aura.
Yes, it's dangerous to go near it without heed, especially when they cast curse spells. What a pain.
I'm glad too that we ended up having that conversation, starting to probe the relationship between willpower and intention and emotions and malevolence and purification in the last stream, because I think when you have that in the front of your mind, as those last parts of the main story that we completed invited us to bring to the front of our mind, then when Rose has that line, I'm not sure who she's quoting, if it's just the credo of the scattered bones or something else altogether, but when she said that thing about within strands of coincidence you can discern hints of intention or something like that. I forget now exactly what the quote was, but very similar and thematically potent relationship between sort of how you make sense of the world and how you connect or explain the seemingly random happenings of the world according with what people have willed or what they intend to bring about. So the question is this Logos merchant whom they've been talking about forever the same as this corrupt art dealer? Are they different people? I know we explored Logos a little bit earlier, so I can't remember whether that storyline concluded or if that's maybe dovetailing into this. Romano, that's his name.
How are you going to go about this?
Just leave it to me. Let's meet with this Romano.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I can't perfectly remember how the art dealer quest started anyway, so my guess is that is when we were looking into Logos, so that would be wrapping up both that side quest adventure of how he was manipulating prices, as we've heard talk about here in Marland, and then also in Lady Lake before that, which we now know is morbidly connected with the poor kids in the forest. I smell a fight.
A bit of a fixer-upper, but it'll do. I have plenty of renovation money after all.
Using our little refund for renovation, just too smooth.
Are you Mr. Romano?
Who the hell wants to know? I've got this place reserved.
There's something I want to ask you. You can just buy works of art. Why are you getting them through such underhanded means?
She sure doesn't waste time.
Figures.
Who are you?
The Scattered Bones.
What?
Is this some kind of a joke, little girl?
A joke? Taking all the property from bankrupt people? Killing all the children you've used? You've really messed up now.
Oh, you think you can prove it?
Do you understand the situation you're in, Mr. Romano?
Oh, don't just stand there and protect me, you fools! Do your jobs!
Hellions!
Surprise, surprise.
Thanks for proving me right, Romano.
Are these the ones who killed the children?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, they're level 65! That's why. Well, I guess these are endgame side quests, so I shouldn't be too surprised. Well, hopefully we can deal with it, but if not, we might have to circle back around to the side quests if they're all going to be this challenging. After we've gotten a few levels in the, whatever the final area is. If it's a Tales game, my guess is the final area will give us plenty of opportunity to grind. Should have reset our items before this.
You're pretty much screwed.
What are they weak to? Wind, of course. I like being able to keep them at a distance, though. Oh, that was frustrating. Boy, that did not do as much damage as I was hoping it might. So we're taking them down at the same rate, whereas I wish we could focus our efforts on one of them versus the other. I'm not totally sure how to do that with commands. Maybe that's something I can figure out on the command menu, though. That might be worth it. That doesn't seem quite right. Too much. Hopefully we can just figure it out as is. Still don't have any arcane bottles. Keep hoping to pick them up. Oh my god, all she can do is die. And also Zvid. Okay, now we seem to be balancing things out a little at least. Didn't like that. Okay, there we go. At least when we're actually trying to dodge them, it's super easy. Oh, I jinxed myself there. But in general, it's super easy. If you just take one of them down, we should be able to deal with the other pretty handily. I want another Mystic Art outfit to be able to get it off. Maybe by the time it comes to deal with the other one, but then we probably won't need it as much. God damn it. Fuck.
I need a hand.
We do have enough for Mystic Art now, at least. Gonna keep us alive. That might kill one of them. God, really? Jesus. Why do they have so much health? Jesus. For real? I don't understand how they're raining arrows. They are giant apes with axes. Where are the arrows coming from? It's just a joke. It's a joke, bro. We got you. And we're down to our last life bottle. But literally, how are you supposed to dodge that? Alright. Well, we just might not be able to do that right now. At the very least, I'm going to try one more time when we actually have full items, because we don't right now. We can't go to Logren? You serious? Can we warp anywhere? I just won't let us go back to Roland's. Wonder why that would be. It's not like that would take us through through Elysia. is where the main story is taking us next. Well, at the very least, we can restock on everything except grape gels and see if that makes a difference. And then we can just punt on the side content until later, if that's not enough. I wish the other shops got access to grape gels, but maybe that's one of those things where they get more of those staple items as you spend more money and increase their rank. But this one doesn't even have peach gels. That's what I wanted. Are there any later towns we can go to? We can't go back to Westonville. Frustrating. Alright, well I say let's leave Romano where he is for the moment and see if there are any other side quests we can get traction on. Maybe we can circle back to him or go to the main plot and just come back later. Helpful Rose, thank you so much. So the Cat's Corner quest is open again. I'm not sure how to advance that one. I know they said
You were just waiting for me to pick you up, weren't you?
there was a strong lightning seraph who had access to it once. I don't think we've met any lightning seraphim, right? And I think they said that some cats with a C are also cats with a K. And I know, because I clocked it, there's one cat back in Logren, but it doesn't look like we can get there right now. I was hoping I might just wander around here and run into a cat hanging out, but no such luck it seems. What else? Well, I'm almost certain that if we can't deal with endgame side quest henchmen, we're not going to be able to knock out the Medusa sisters yet, but we might be able to get there at least. Glavend Basin? Yes, alright. There's one we can get to anyways. I think... oh, I forget which way is closer. I think the Rollins outpost is closer to their hometown. Oh yeah. Well, look at that. There's even another side quest curiosity on the map. I can start with that in my case. So many Hellion soldiers.
Oh, Shepard. What brings you all the way out here?
I'd ask the same. Is something the matter out here?
We are part of the joint border guard between Highland and Rollins. But we spotted a village that's not on the map. We were about to go investigate.
Would it be alright if we handled the investigation instead?
Good call. If it turns out those two are actually back.
I'm not sure I take your meaning.
There's a high chance you might encounter danger there that only the Shepherd could handle.
But...
please. I'm worried for everyone.
Understood.
Oh, I might have cut off that cutscene. I didn't even know I could do that. I just pressed a button on the controller and that seemed to cancel it. Well, we got the gist of it. I will be shocked if the outcome of this side quest is not a fight between both of the Medusa-type Hellions at the same time, which, I'll be honest, I do not think we are equipped for yet. But nothing ventured, nothing gained. How are the levels on these fellas? Oh, manageable, but probably good for getting us some more experience on the way. Shouldn't be avoiding all of them.
You can't let our guard down
even for a moment.
Maybe so. They were losers from the moment they became Hellions.
was trying to save that, but it was too tempting.
Let's do some fortune telling.
It's interesting that even now when we're not fighting Tiamat anymore, we have this vocalized track as the background music to navigating the basin. Ooh. That looks like a scary mother effer. I'm just gonna leave that one be for now. Yeah, the sixth sense that we're not quite ready for him yet.
The undead pack some powerful arts, Grop.
They can also work, so keep an eye on them.
The monolithic purge, I think that's a new technique for Armitage, Ray, and Edna.
What a formidable opponent!
Oh. Oh, I'm so stupid. I was so dead set on the question mark on the map that I neglected that back where we saw those knights talking about the village, there's a little village-shaped outcropping on the map in the top left corner, so we totally went to the wrong place, but we did discover some ruins we haven't explored before, so take the W, I guess.
I remember this place was in the Celestial Record.
That's odd. This area isn't supposed to have any wild horses.
It's not?
Yeah. The sparrow feathers pass through here all the time, but I've never seen any before.
Couldn't they be former war horses?
Oh, there you go. That explains it. They must have gotten separated. Stupid armies, clean up after yourselves at least.
I wonder which country's horses they are. Who knows? Might be both.
Making their peace as fellow strays?
Would that surprise you? It's not like the horses have any reason to fight.
Just like people, horses too run from the terrors of war.
Technically, they gallop.
Are they okay to live like that?
Why not? The malevolence of the battlefield is long gone. The main danger is past.
The main danger, you mean?
No. No, I do not.
That pun really only comes out when it's written anyway, so not sure what traction Lilo was hoping to get on it just by saying it out loud. Alright. Thankfully this seems like, knock on wood, a pretty simple layout at least. Well, it's not. Oh. These are really low level. Did we have access to this earlier, this dungeon, and I just totally missed it? I think whenever we've been able to get to Glaven Basin, it's been in the middle of war, and we haven't been able to go to it. Although maybe there were certain points in the story when, if we had wanted to go back to Glaven, we could have wandered around it and just didn't bother because there was nothing here. Nice to have a slightly easier battle after those level 65s.
What kind of guys are your type?
The type that don't even ask that.
Or say, hey babes, either.
Poor Savid. He just wants to be loved. Also means we probably don't need to bother with these battles, because at level 13 they're not gonna net us much experience anyways. See, if we had gone to these ruins earlier, though, we wouldn't have been able to get that golden chest and its blob ring, so the timing works out after all. This is a little more complicated. We'll be fine. We've been through worse, God knows. Mains of Mercure. I didn't even clock that name. All these drop bottles. Where's my arcane bottle at? Boy, they really want you to equip that blob ring in this dungeon. I will if we need it. I mean, I guess there's a
There
beefy,
should be a vista point nearby.
unique blob hellion deep in the depths here. Merchants' abandoned wares. Can we pillage them?
Well, that's unpleasant.
Quite.
Did someone forget something here?
Oh, how should I...
Saray, look around you. What do you see?
Well, it looks like a slime hellion lair, so... Oh!
Yep. The owner of this junk got gobbled up.
But why did they leave this stuff untouched?
Picky eaters, no doubt.
You joke, but there may be some truth to it. Slime hellions are a massive ego and greed, after all.
No time to mourn the departed. Don't forget, we're also here in their lair. You don't want to blink and find yourself staring at the inside of a slime stomach.
You're right. I'll be careful.
I bet you'd make an attractive morsel, Zavid. The slimes would barely have anything to spit out.
I get that a lot. Zavid, you're only an egg or two away from being a delicious omelet.
You get that specifically a lot. It is neat that we get background from Lila on, like, speaking of different faces and individual manifestations of malevolence, like what kind of malevolence begets specific hellion types. I wonder, I don't think it's the case, but if we take the time to look at the compendium of all the enemies we've fought, will there be little bits of information about that for all of them? No. They do have little commentary from the characters, which is great, but it's not default to include their origins in terms of what malevolence brought them about. That is a nice way of stylizing and memorializing like the battle information you get about different enemies and what their strengths and weaknesses and origins are, though. See, there's so much detail and care put into these games that you can easily overlook if you don't seek it out. Like, I think that was the first time in the entire playthrough that we actually took the time to go and look at that compendium of enemies from the beginning of the game onwards. So I think we want to go after the top left part of the map next, if I'm tracking things right.
I guess something like this is right.
Oh, I discovered a fun thing before the stream too, so it'll pierce the veil of the green screen for a moment, so the stream won't look as good in that sense, but it will give you something nice to look at instead. I discovered earlier while I was setting up that sometimes when my dog Evie perches herself on my couch, as she's doing right now, I can actually get her in the shot if I turn the camera. With me still in it, I think. Here she is. Well, we can't both fit in at the same time quite. It's just a little too narrow for that, but yes. That's my dear little girl Evie. She sincerely apologizes for all of the noise, but she has many feelings about this game and video games and streaming in general. She is my dog after all, so that tracks. Now I just need to find some way to get her a perch that is able to be captured in the same view as my seat in front of the green screen. And then she can more actively participate in these streaming adventures with us. She's really already lobbying that we play Tales of Vesperia after Berseria for the sake of maining Rapide, and speaking of party members, building a party around a dog. Rebel doggy with a heart of gold. It is another one that's high on my list to replay just because somewhat similar to Zestiria and especially similar to Dawn of the New World. I felt like I really missed the hype of the game at the time. Like, people love Vesperia, and when I played it, I didn't really see the appeal. Or even, like, I played it a long time ago now, but I remember feeling like I didn't even really understand what the game had been trying to say. Which, especially nowadays, tells me that it's worth replaying, especially while we're working through them all in the Tales of Praxis series, to give it another chance and a fresh context, and see if that changes the way I think about it at all. And honestly, at this point, with our hit rate so far in the series, I would be pretty surprised if I didn't have a changed view on it going through it again. Anything special over here? Just a bunch of rubble. Oh, Norman! Excellent. Worth the price of admission right there. Aqua. Oh, does Micleo have something free if it's water attack power? I mean, that seems like a no-brainer. I don't know if that'll get us any bonus skills, but seems like an obvious choice for a water seraph. Thank you, Aqua. Now we descend to the darkest depths. I'm assuming it's down as opposed to up. I think that's usually how it works in these ruins. Will say, still love the soundtrack. I think it commands the right palette of emotion for most of the game. I am a little tired of this ruin navigation track. I think, if for no other reason than simply because we hear it so often because there are so many ruins in the game. But that is a small gripe to have with a really cool scoring of the ambiance in this world. And of the decisive battles, like we were talking about in the Tiamat fight last time. Ah, pick up the phone, I called it. We've got a big, unique Hellion blob here. It puts me in mind, with no real spoilers, of one of my favorite and most vividly remembered optional bosses in Tales of Arise, which is also a giant slime. Although a bit more giant than that one, if memory serves. Yeah, of course there's gonna be gooey stuff in a chest down in Slime Town. Well, here's hoping that consistent with the levels of his brood. He's a low-level Hellion we just missed before. And now, that translates into a pushover boss as we're doing cleanup. Man-Eater! Oh, nope, JK. 64. Well, this might not end well. I don't know if we can escape, actually. No, we can't escape. Well, let's give it our all and see what comes of it. Resistant to everything except for water. Alright, gotta put our boy Nickley on.
It's a man-eater, so then it's gonna eat us?
It's a man-eater.
Either could mean anything.
I don't want none of it.
It might be easier now that I think we have a few more items than we did for the other fight. And then also, I think just managing one enemy body as opposed to two, like in that other battle. It's always a little bit easier. If for no other reason than because both Rose and Saray automatically focus on the same enemy. I couldn't figure out how to get Rose to do that in the other fight. I think if I knew how to issue commands a little bit better at this point, which to be fair, I should. We're, so many hours into the game. Then it would have been easier to manage that other fight. Maybe I'll look it up after this. Armitize, girl. There you go. It's half doing the fight ourselves and half armchair quarterbacking Rose. Nope. That might get him. Nope. How close are we? Oh, Jesus. He's more HP than I thought. Oh, we can also do the arrow attack that those Hellions were hammering us with back in the museum. That's good to know. We gotta be close now.
Hey, babes. What kind of guys are your type?
The type that don't even ask.
That was not as unmanageable as I feared based on the previous fight. So maybe we will be able to knock out some of these side quests without going further in the main story first.
That was a tough enemy. Let's prepare for our next battle.
Nothing there. I think we just leave now. Yeah, we cleared this out already. I wish wing bottles were a thing in Zestiria so we could just nope out of the dungeon. But I suppose there is a save circle right here at least. Although we probably want to stay in Glaven Basin anyway, right? Because we wanted to check out the hometown of the Medusa sisters. Actually, between navigating out of the dungeon and then going all the way across the map of the basin, I think it'll be easier for us to just warp back to the roll inside. Alright, now that we actually know where we're going for the Medusa girls, let's save and try that again. Forgot to heal us too, that's frustrating. Well, you know, I'll just cheat and sub in Zavid to start with. Oh, so before we go into another fight, we should just be able to check in battle systems about issuing commands. It'd be that easy. It's with R, okay. Yeah, okay, so if we hit the right stick to the right, we can get everyone to attack the same target. I know there are other ways to use commands in these games, but honestly, like, 9 times out of 10, if a JRPG gives me a issue commands to party option, really the only one of those that I end up using is tell everyone in the party to attack the same person, because I don't know if that's just a strictly good strategy in terms of managing a bunch of computer-controlled characters in these games, or if it's just the way I play, but really, like, the difference between being able to take on one enemy at a time versus spreading out and dealing, like, small amounts of damage to all of them at once can really spell the difference between a victory and a loss. Leave us alone, lizard.
There's something there.
And there's 2 of them.
Yep. As foretold. Okay, so there's 2 of them, but they are not as high level as the other monsters we've been facing. Although they can also petrify, so potato, right? This one has more HP, it's also really weak to physical. I don't know, I feel like this is a better start. Focus attacks. There we go.
So they are the Cardinal Sisters. We can't beat them if we can't stand against petrification.
Yeah, I still feel like they never really told us how to do that, but... Oh, maybe there's something that heals us now? Because Ray just got unpetrified, and for the life of me, I could not tell you how that happened. Not starting out on a great foot when it comes to HP. don't jinx us, but we seem to have a rhythm so far. I thought that was going to petrify us. Okay, she's going to be able to armatize, so we should focus on trying to kill this one still. Alright, okay, we got one down. Boy, what a difference a few levels on an enemy makes. These seem much easier, even with their petrification powers, than the ones we were fighting before. Though part of that might have also been looking up how to focus attacks, in all honesty. Die at once! I shall not! I refuse! Oh, this one's really weak to physical, so we should probably just get after Elysia. Whoa! Well, that really sucked. I didn't like that they were able to turn the tables that quickly. But at least now we can have a grudge match, I guess. I mean, that seemed to be working, so I guess we can roll it out the same. Man, frustrating, though. I really don't like that a single attack can completely flip things like that. Alright. And away we go.
They're both right here, in this village.
So they are the Cardinal sisters.
We can't beat them if we can't stand against petrification.
It's the exact same thing that happened last time. Love it. Fuck. I was to the side of that. There's no reason that should have connected. Man, when she hits it while we're in the middle of a combo and there's nothing we can do, that is so frustrating. Man. If she kills Saray, we can at least armatize. Attack. Thank you. Alright. Alright, Saray's petrified, but we killed one of them, so hopefully we can have a more graceful conclusion to this than last time. There we go. Alright, now we just have to keep on her. And also manage our health so that doesn't sneak up on us like last time. Fuck! Oh, I was hoping Edna would have a blast gauge. That's annoying. Oh, can they only petrify humans? Is that what's going on? Because they never seem to hit the Seraphim. Maybe that's part of the strategy they want you to figure out. Oh, that's alright, we don't need that. Yeah, we want Edna out and we want to whack her with Saray. I can do that. Good try. You're not killing us with that again. Now we know to avoid the Aqua Serpent. Good try. I guess another tactic is also if she's going to petrify you and you're armatized, you could take off the Armatus so that then at least the Seraph will survive. Or not be petrified, whatever you want to call it. Well, the more I'm thinking through the different ways one could avoid petrification, the more I am appreciating that the game, at least as far as I can tell, doesn't super directly explain it to you, but rather just gives you the tools to understand how to, or figure out on your own how to deal with it over time. Kind of similar, actually, to the way that they figure out you should armatize with Dezel, who is blind, to avoid it. So it's thematically consistent across all the uses of petrification in the plot. Oh yeah, I saw that coming. There's nothing I could do about it. Well, I guess I could remove the Armatus like I was talking about, but easier to say something than to do it. How close is she? She probably gets her definitely. Oh, no, if she gets petrified also, we're really fucked, so not sure what to do about that. Guess we can just play it out. There we go. Alright. Oh, you're petrified, so we have to wait for Zavi to come in, and then we might have, like, a frame to heal Saray. That's gonna have to be the play. This is, again, way closer than I'd like it to be. Come on. Why didn't he swap in? Did I have to trigger that? I thought he auto-swapped. Fuck me. Alright, third time's the charm. I'm getting pissed off at this now, though. Can we use some herbs if we have herbs? Yeah, we do. Frustrating, man. Well, that'll hopefully help us a bit. Take 3. Okay, this is the right one. We have the right setup.
They're both right here, in this village.
So they are the Cardinal Sisters.
We can't beat them if we can't stand against petrification.
No, but we can get really close, which in some ways is even worse. Oh, Mikleo is petrified. Well, I take back what I said about the Seraphim then. That's annoying. Nope, of course not. Man, none of them have blast gauges coming into this battle. That is also really frustrating. Oh my god, is anyone gonna heal? There, thank you. Alright, where's everyone's health at? Okay, I thought that Lila was going to armatize with Rose. But we can get her up to. That really has an unreasonable range, I'll say it. Good. Rose is petrified. Okay, one down. I can feel it. This is the time. And this is the one who's weak to Earth, so we're doing well to be armatized with Edna. That's just gonna work out. We have to kill Rose. There we go. Alright. I think Leo can bring her back. Oh, come on. That's gonna get us. Okay. Almost halfway. Yep. I knew that was coming. And Rose? You serious? Alright. I didn't see that Saray had 1 HP left. I guess we should heal Rose. Yeah, that's fair. It's resistant to fire, but fire is what we've got right now. Sometimes you gotta work with what you have. Try. Hitting it from front and back at the same time seems pretty effective. Gotten this close before. Oh, and Rose is petrified. That's not good. Oh, come on. There's no world in which it makes sense that he was dazed for that long. That I'm fine with. I was waiting for that. That, not so much, but at least we dodged it. How's she on health? 4,000. Alright, we can do this. Just have to apply a little more pressure. Bodies on the field right now. Oh, man, the days. And it's so long. Frustrating. Can you armatize at least, please? Great. Okay, that's something.
What a formidable opponent!
No fucking way I was gonna get that close for a third time and then let it go. Well, at least we got some levels, and we can see the conclusion of this side quest, which is what it's all about. Let's hope it was worth it.
Good work.
You too.
Shepard, what was that?
Who are these women?
They collapsed. Please, take care of them.
Will do. Most likely they fell victim to the sleeping sickness.
Sickness?
We consulted older records pertaining to this area. It turns out there was a village here called Forton that was wiped out 20 years ago.
The records indicate that everyone in the village caught an illness that made them lethargic and constantly sleepy. As if they were trapped by the illusions men call dreams.
Saray, do you think...
What a line. What a reading.
Some of us are low on health.
I'm not sure what the Saray do you think was about there, because I'm not sure what to think about everyone in the village having caught a disease that makes them fall victim to illusions. Were they suggesting that it was Symonne's doing? That sounds like her MO. That maybe she laid waste to the town and maybe corrupted Cardinal Forton with her ideology. It's kind of the best I got at the moment. We talked with them, right? Yeah. Maybe we'll get more once we leave town here. Boy, those are some aggressive lizards. Leave me alone!
It's just such a pity. Was it fate that the Cardinal and her sisters all had to choose between death and a life that would turn them into Hellions?
Well...
There is such a thing as destiny in this world. But I don't want to believe that everything that happens is predetermined.
I've never really put much stock in destiny. Everyone lives on the razor's edge between light and darkness. You never know which way they'll fall. It just so happened that all three sisters fell on the side of darkness and became Hellions. That's all.
Can you choose which side you fall on?
Yeah. It's your own life, after all.
Saray.
Yeah. Rose has the right idea.
Shall we go?
I wanted to see, when I was looking at the synopsis last time, I have some memory that it indicated it was the synopsis of the main events, which makes me wonder whether there's a synopsis of the side events. Because I feel like with some of these side quests, I'm just having a real hard time remembering all the different pieces of them because they've unfolded over like such a long period of time in the game. So I feel like some of these details about like what happened with the sisters, for instance, are not as fresh in my mind as I'd like them to be. And I worry that's maybe impacting the conclusion of the quest. Can we do that? No. It says main at the top. That's what I was thinking of, which would imply there would also be a synopsis of side events. But I'm not seeing that. Boy, that's kind of frustrating. Well, maybe at some point if we go back and look, we can piece together the rest of the story here. So I remember there were more details about this town. And the storylines of the individual sisters was that, well, at least of the cardinal sisters, is that they were like scorned women, right? But I know that I have holes in what happened in my understanding. So it looks like we can hunt for some more big game hellions if we go back to the Great Camelot Bridge. The Crucibles we should try at some point before we call it a day on Zestiria, but I don't want to prioritize that. Oh, it'd be fun to learn more about Maven. I'd really like to do that. Now that we understand him to be this previously immortal storyteller. Well, why don't we start there? If we can travel back there now. No, we can't. How close can we get? Can we get to the bridge? No. The bridge connects to the pasture, I think. Either the pasture or the Meadow of Triumph. Can't go there. Can we go here? Can we go here? Okay, we can go here. Alright. I see. So maybe it's giving us the freedom to explore side quests, but we're still in the moment of the game of heading out in the night from Lastenbell until we progress further. So it might just be that we're gated from doing stuff in Rollins until we make more progress in the main story. Well, since the other thing to explore was on the bridge, we had the bridge in Logren. I guess we're kind of out of side quests, except now that we've gotten like another level or two. And I also looked up the command for focusing attacks. I do want to go back before we truly decide to leave it till later to the museum and see if we can't take care of Romano's Hellion goons, his cronies. I have a feeling we might have a better outcome now that we did basic research into how to play the game.
Can't believe we really beat the dragon. Pretty impressive. That's why you the man, Saray.
I know. It's about Edna's brother, isn't it?
You might have noticed that already.
Alright, that's the other thing to
eyes
try
on
at
the
some
Siegfried.
point.
We might be able to get rid of the malevolence and return him to normal.
It's still only a possibility. We may need more than one bullet. And who knows if this will even work.
Yeah. I know that now's not the time.
Sorry. Maybe I said too much.
But if we scour the world, we might be able to find another way.
Yeah. But Heldalf ain't gonna wait for us.
This could be our only chance.
I'm not forcing it, you know.
Because you'll do it yourself anyways, right?
You bet I will.
I think between the difficulty I'm expecting from that and also just to stay with the narrative continuity that Saray and Zavid were just talking about, worth saving Eisen for either after we've beaten the main story or when we're right on the cusp of the very final boss. I don't think it would feel right to try to tackle him right now. Nor do I think, if I'm being honest, that we would be prepared to. Oh yeah, we have fewer chills now, so that might be an issue. Oh yeah, we're out of peach shells and we only have 2 grape shells. I don't love that. Geez, are there other towns in Highland that sell more gels? I'm amazed that Marland only sells apple gels. It's got to be a factor of how much you use the stores. We'll check in Lady Lake, and if we can't get a little better supplied, we can just shelve that for now, too. No harm in that. Alright, let's go to Elysia then. I doubt that we can get much closer to Elysia than this. Probably not going to let us fast travel very close, but let's just check. No, I don't think we're going to be able to get closer. I think we might as well walk. Alright, off we go. Toward the final confrontation, toward Camlann. Where it all began for little Saray and Mikleo, as we learned a couple streams ago. I think Aroundite Forest was the one that took us between Elysia and here.
Here, I'll do you a favor.
Mikleo.
Yeah, I don't feel Gramps' blessed domain.
Did something happen in Elysia?
That's not a good sign.
You guys, let's hurry!
Yeah.
So much malevolence, it's stifling.
I've never seen the Aroundite Forest in such a state.
Oh yeah, it looks like it has literally been reshaped in light of the chaos that's befallen it. With new monsters.
The werewolf Hellion with high combat powers.
Have various jump attacks. Don't screw up out there.
Ocean Blitz! Here goes!
Well, that's a wrap.
Another enemy-specific power boosting ring.
Okay, here
Oh, I didn't realize that! Well, wasn't planning on taking on a unique enemy, but... Oh, and it's resistant to everything. Well, let's see how it goes.
What elements is it resistant to?
Everything.
Everything?
They can also cast spells that heighten their abilities.
That puts us in a pretty tight spot.
Yeah, actually, I'm thinking better of this.
Let's just get out alive!
Good to know he's there. But I'd like to be a bit stronger and more prepared before we take on something like that.
Ready your shepherd message?
Let's get him! That's what the shepherd can do. Shall we go?
Oh, it's an elderly. How graceful and cute its name is.
You say so.
The ruins!
People!
Oh, Jesus.
More like corpses. Looks like they were soldiers from Highland.
That's
So
not
the
good.
humans came to invade Elysia.
How would they have done that already? There was a reason, right? Because Elysia was seeking something at the beginning of the game at the behest of Highland. That's how she ran into Saray in the first place, by Elysia. I don't remember what it was she was after. Chances are good we'll get a reminder in a second, though.
I showed them.
Someone who could wield their powers even within Zenris's domain must have let humans and Hellions into this place.
Heldalf. Maybe he was trying to get the humans to destroy the seal so he could get to Camlann.
He's
I
recruiting
don't know
humans
about
for his
that.
cause, too.
Remember, he's linked up with Mautelis. He could probably cut through that seal like butter.
Yeah. No doubt Heldalf is already camped out at Camlann, waiting for us. This is likely just his way of tormenting me.
Well then, if we waste any more time here, we're just falling into his trap.
Then let's press on to Elysia.
Pretty obvious what Kittybeard is after.
Yes, corrupting Saray with malevolence, I take it.
Saray's aware of it. You can tell he's trying his best to keep it together, despite the circumstances.
Ugh, screw you, Heldalf! No one can keep their head on straight when their friends and family are in mortal danger.
Who knows what evils he may be plotting in order to cause Saray further heartache.
I can hazard a few guesses. We gotta stop him, no matter what.
Let's go.
In one sense, though, you do have to at least admire Heldalf's dedication, because, I mean, Saray at this point has united, you know, two warring nations and humans and Seraphim alike, to the point that they overcame a dragon, Tiamat. And so, a lesser Lord of Calamity might imagine that Saray is beyond the risk of corruption. So for Heldalf to still be going after it is, requires some tenacity, I think. Say what you will about the guy, he's a hard worker.
I can't believe there are so many Hellions out there.
Oh no. Yeah, that is one we actually have to deal with. I remember that fight. I have such a bad memory for like the middle third of long JRPG stories when compared with their beginning and especially their end. Like I told you, until we started fighting Tiamat, I didn't remember that dragon sequence, I didn't remember any of the stuff leading up to war, but now that we're getting into the end game, there's a whole litany of little details that I do remember, including, and now that we're face to face with it, this fine specimen of a Hellion.
Darn it!
A powerful Hellion like this right at Elysia's gate.
Saray!
Yeah! Take this one out!
The Hounds of Hell. Cerberus-ish. Oh, literally Cerberus. Just short one head. Maybe another Seraph came through and helped us out, severing one head before that. Okay, we want Earth.
Tiger Blade! Tiger Blade! Let's get up!
What level is he? 68. Wait, so a main story boss in 68. I don't think we're close to that level yet. I feel like we might have ended up under-leveled again. Which is weird to me, because I was actually thinking, in contrast with our playthroughs of Symphonia and Dawn of the New World, that we'd actually spent more time than usual leveling without thinking much about it. Maybe they were expecting us to grind even more than we have. We haven't really grinded, we've just been doing a lot of the side content, which I think in most JRPGs ought to be enough to manage the main story. But we'll be fine here, I'm just marketing more than anything. heal itself? That's really annoying. To no avail, though.
Saray, let's hurry!
Right!
Love that. Oh yeah, we're a full, like, 10 to 15 levels under what that boss was. That's disconcerting. What have we missed out on besides just literally wandering around the field with the intention of fighting a bunch of enemies and grinding? Maybe that's it. Maybe for some of the story events I've just been skirting more enemies than I should have. Because I didn't want to interrupt the flow with battle after battle. That's the only explanation I can think of. Well,
It looks like a battle.
everyone loves a challenge.
They must have become Hellions, losing themselves and turning on each other.
How could this happen?
It's possible they simply had the same thought that Heldalf also had back in the day. Elysia and Camlann are strategically valuable, right?
But the war is practically over already!
Which goes to show you how much some morons don't want it to end.
But they're not the only ones responsible for this. There's massive amounts of malevolence pouring out from somewhere.
Probably a sign that the seal my mother forged has been broken.
Gramps. Everyone. Please be safe.
Here's hoping. God, it is much more unsettling than I would have expected to see a bunch of corpses strewn about this sacred, untouched land of Seraphim.
Something's wrong.
Yeah. All these bodies of Highland soldiers. But no sign of the people who live here.
Yeah, that's something also that the series does pretty well, as I was thinking back. Like, taking you back to places you're familiar with and kind of overwhelming you with the devastation. Like, we saw that in Tales of Symphonia with Lewin and, well, huge portions of the world, but especially Heimdall after the Tower of Salvation falls. That's a huge part of just the overall topology of the world in Tales of the Abyss. The way it plays with the environments in that sense is really riveting and I think kind of unusual in broader video game storytelling norms.
You don't think everyone...
Please, both of you, don't assume the worst. Yeah, they had to have gotten away safe and sound.
Ow!
It's a barrier. It must be something Zenris set up to prevent humans from breaking in.
Gramps! It's me, Saray!
Saray? Saray, you're back.
Yes, thank goodness! Saray!
Oh, thank goodness. I'm so glad you're all okay.
Where's Gramps?
He told us to wait here. He said that he was going to go drive out the humans.
He went out alone in all this malevolence?
I'm sorry. We should have been there with him.
But even if we had, we would only have gotten in his way. We left him out there to die.
Hey, like Lila keeps saying, reflection good, regrets bad.
There's no way Gramps would fall so easily.
Saray.
I'll go find him. Kine, everybody, stay right here.
If everyone else was safe, Gramps must be too.
Oh
Where's
no.
the gate of the Dawn of Chaos that Gramps headed towards?
That's Symonne.
There's only one place in Elysia it could be.
In the depths of the Mount Mabinogio ruins.
Which we knew, but I have a feeling it'll take some doing to get there.
It's her!
We can no longer tell how you will respond. And so, as you can see, we determined this to be the only remaining option available to us.
You did this? Whatever plots you hatch, it doesn't matter. I already have my answer.
Do you hate me then? Do you wish to plunge that sword into my breast?
Where is Gramps, Simonne?
He went to the gate of the Dawn of Chaos to drive away the Earth Dwellers flooding in. Though it's far too late at this point to do anything.
Yeah, the wish was looming over a corpse.
Looks like our dear Purple Petunia is worried.
Soraya's most likely grown a lot stronger than she anticipated.
Yeah, she knows that no matter what she does, Soraya will brush it right off. It's got her quivering in her dainty little shoes.
But a cornered dog is likely to bite. If it comes down to her last resort, do you think Soraya can really just brush it off? It worries me.
Well, we just won't let it get to that. Simple enough, right?
Yes.
He shouldn't have to know how it feels. Not even if he thinks he's ready for it.
Edna.
Oh, Edna.
Looks like our Edna's in serious mode.
Looks like our Zavid's pretty serious mode himself. For once.
That's a good thing, Zavid. Please make serious mode your default from now on.
Oh, I can't refuse the request of such a pretty lady. Just watch, I'll be seriously in love. Hey, you married? Would you like to be?
Lila, you idiot. He would have stayed that way if you'd just left him alone.
I'm sorry.
Simonne's an interesting character too. I'm curious to see the way the rest of her story unfolds as we push toward the conclusion here. Because it's one of those interesting cases where we've talked about Heldalf as being in some ways similar to kind of the trope of like video game villains and villains more broadly who like show up once or twice over the course of a story but don't say much, and you kind of just have to figure out who they are by exploring the world around them and then finally confront them at the end, like a Ganondorf or a Sephiroth. And it's interesting how, you know, with Heldalf alone, we've had all of like maybe 1.5 conversations, and even that is kind of stretching the definition of the first encounter with him. But we're kind of getting to know him through Simonne almost as his kind of mouthpiece. So if they both end up interacting with us a decent amount in the final confrontation here, it'll be interesting to see how they relate to each other and how they diverge. A very different feel though than something like Tales of Symphonia noticed, because Tales of Symphonia has lots of twists and turns in the sense of, you
Looks
know,
like there's something nearby.
not always being straightforward about who the antagonist is or what's going on, but when all's said and done and you figure out that Mythos is the one behind everything, you look around and not only have you had a bunch of conversations with Yggdrasil whenever he's shown up over the course of the game and confronted him more than once, but you also, without knowing it, like back before, you know, Mythos revealed himself to be Mythos Yggdrasil, he even traveled with the party and befriended Genus, and so you got to know his personality a lot more directly and in a pretty involved way versus what you get with someone like Heldalf, who kind of relies on the proxy of Simonne more so than anything. I think the statue was the point of interest that we missed. It is pretty striking now that one looks at it. Stern Thunder God statue. Oh, a Thunder God? Maybe that has something to do with Cat's Corner. 'Cause there was talk of the Thunder Seraph.
Well, doesn't he look scary?
It's probably the enshrined god of the Mount Mabinokio ruins. I couldn't tell you its name, but...
This is Zenris.
What? You mean Gramps?
Long ago, people worshipped Zenris as the god of thunder. The
Wow.
deity encompassing both severity and
It would
grace.
make sense that Gramps would be the point of access to Cat's Corner.
What we grew up playing and exploring in was...
Gramps' shrine.
Pretty cool. All the archaeology was really just to arrive at your personal history. Whether it was the iris gems or the ruins down the street. I love that. Did we go up the stairs? God, this shrine is singular when it comes to getting me turned around. No, I think this is the door we want. Yep. And we're off. The door unsealed at last. The depths of Mount Mabinogia ruins. Oh, God.
Huh?
What is this?
He was the one who brought in the soldiers.
What a fool he was, right up to the very end. Muse!
Lila, quickly! Heal her! Are you alright?
I sense malevolence, but it's not too late. If I still have my life to give.
What are you doing? Don't try to move.
Please, dear Seraph, I need to. I must do this. I want to give the world reason to hope, even should it cost me my life.
But why?
Because I believe that the children raised by Seraph Zenrus will one day grow to become a shepherd and his companion. I believe they will lead us to hope for the future. A bright future where humans and Seraphim can live hand in hand.
And that is your answer.
Please, my staff. Thank you.
Muse!
Farewell, Muse. I too believe in your wish, and I know it will surely come true.
Thank you.
Mikleo, I'm so sorry.
I'm fine.
I'm sure we'll find Zenrus just up ahead. And our missing Mountellus as well.
Not to mention Catface.
Let's get it on!
Yeah.
Everyone, let's do this!
The prologue to the final act, huh? Lord Heldalf, my master. Can these people truly be stained with the colors you desire? But then, it is my job to see that they are.
I hope we get to see more of Symonne's history in terms of how and why the Seraph linked up with Heldalf. Boy, so that was touching. I guess when Mikleo acknowledged his mother's answer, that was kind of in the same vein as what we've been talking about in terms of honoring and supporting people's true intentions and what they believe in. He, like, at that point, knew that her choice and path was to sacrifice herself for the sake of purging the malevolence, and so it would have therefore been wrong for him not just to intervene, but also to, like, point out to her that he was her son, as if that would somehow challenge or undermine her answer and the resolve she found. Which is hard to wrap one's head around. I don't know if I would see that in the same way, because, you know, you see, and we saw in the flashbacks, how much Muse cared for Mikleo. You would think it would be relevant to her resolve and whatever her answer is to know that she had a son, in a way that it warranted telling her before she did that. And I guess Mikleo went the other way with it.
What? We were just...
Yeah. Must be Simonne.
Definitely.
I wonder what she's playing at.
Let's stay on guard.
Yeah, these infinite, desolate, hopeless dunes are one of the things I was talking about back when we fought Cerberus, in terms of set pieces and moments from the finale that stuck with me. It's so haunting and also just so distinct from like many of the other final areas that you encounter in Tales games, because typically it's an elaborate kind of overwrought dungeon, labyrinth with twists and turns and puzzles. And in the face of that norm, this is very much just endless expanse, almost as if to enervate you in the party and make it feel as if there's nothing to accomplish, as if, in contrast to like a big elaborate dungeon where it's kind of just begging for you to go in and uncover its secrets and its riddles and solve its puzzles, like Saray and McLeo feel about Ruins.
Ready, everyone?
Just don't underestimate, alright?
Of course.
59, now we're back to lower levels, slightly lower. I don't really know how they scale levels in this game. It's very puzzling to me.
Just 'cause it's fun looking.
I swear, you really are a kid sometimes.
Aim and fire! Lightning vortex! Not yet! Aim and fire! Save zero! Save zero! Break on through! Blue flurry!
Onward. On one reading of it, it's almost like the game saying, "You want open world? I'll give you open world. Totally open, no map. Figure it out. Have a ball." Physical and water again.
Hydra
Water all over the
has
place.
the ability to regenerate, just like immortals or something.
They're weak against non-elemental attacks, so we should try to paralyze them.
I don't know what's more annoying, an enemy summoning more enemies or an enemy healing. But I know I don't care for enemies who can do both. There's no doubt about that. It's interesting that they don't seem very talkative after any of these battles in the final area. I guess they have weightier things on their mind than post-battle banter.
So tell me, why are they called vampires?
Well, don't they suck your blood? Once it bites you, it may never let you go.
Let's make sure that doesn't happen.
To Earth. Show me Edna. Yeah, interesting too how after a game when we were so often in ruins and following the design of man-made architecture, now really like the only way to even discern the path through this area is by like following the trail of Hellions.
Ready, Miglio?
Very different approach to charting your path. I see a frightening illusion on the horizon. I just can't wait. What will Symonne torment us with next? Ah, it's an illusion of Saray and Rose themselves. Oh, fuck me. We still didn't have a chance to restore our items. Well, hopefully we'll be okay. We have food at least, so we can use that for now. Well, hopefully the apple gels and life bottles will be enough to get us through, folks.
What the crap?
This is Symonne's doing.
Yeah.
We don't have any time to lose. Let's blow through this one.
You got it!
Not a mirror fight. So if we change armatization, will they change with us?
What's going on? I can't deal with this.
Symonne, this is pointless. Knock it off! Open the way forward!
Be gone!
Site zero! Site zero! Blistering bangs! Focus your efforts! I need a hand!
Oh, we have that stupid lethargy ailment or whatever it is. That's why we can't dodge. Very annoying.
Stop it! It hurts!
Ooh, that's creepy.
Does it not pain you to attack your comrades?
Of course, it pains our hearts.
But we won't let that stand in our way.
That'll help. Alright. I was worried that would be harder than it was. Especially when they were at level 74. If they were really our clones, they would be about 20 levels less than that.
Lila, it would be tough for a Seraph to withstand this much malevolence without a vessel, wouldn't it?
Huh? Yes. The Seraph would have a difficult time wielding his powers.
I thought so.
I guess she's running out of ideas for what kind of illusions to make.
Looks like it. But let's proceed with caution.
Oh, I didn't
Most important thing
want
is
a
to keep
dangerous
calm in these
encounter.
kinds of situations.
I'm trying to make it a point for us to take on all the enemies, and hopefully that'll help us to claw back a few levels at least. Should be good, not just for this, but also for the subsequent side content. They're just infinitely calling back up. Ridiculous.
I better get it together.
Well, Saray getting a level is a good outcome in my book. When they back you into a corner, swing your enormous sword. And then eat some food. All the bats. I'm not really that interested in fighting a horde of bats who can call more bats, as much as I just said I wanted to hit all the enemies. Well, there are more enemies, thankfully. No dearth of that. That's a pretty good combo. 6 falling stars is in, I like that attack. Alright, on we go. Sunglasses. Excellent. Worth the trip. Ah, but we did get an elixir and I spied a Norman, so actually worth the trip. Shield. What you got for me, Shield? Number of iron stances during casting +1. That seems good. I wish I'd kept track of who's been doing the most casting. I feel like all the Seraphim cast a decent number of spells. I think Edna has been casting a lot. There we go. One day we'll bring all of the Norman home. Probably not today. Oh my god, so many monsters. What are they looking at over there? Maybe there's a chest on the other side? Death sheet. Oh, that does boost her arts defense by a ton. Seems more niche than I expected, to be honest with you. Well, we can do another cycle of re-equipment down the line in a bit here if we end up needing it. Probably a bit premature to do that now. Ooh, and Edna got a new art in the bargain. See, sometimes it pays to, I don't even want to say grind, just fight all the enemies as they come your way. Oh, just trying to avoid that. Hopefully we'll be alright. Just the overwhelming amount of bats that I have some hesitation about right now. Kinda wish that Rose had saved that Mystic Art in case we had another boss coming up. But we made it through. That's what counts. My god, we just fought you two. I'm fighting you again. That's where I draw the line.
Not again!
Well, we do have all of our life bottles still, so I guess I shouldn't have that much anxiety about pushing forward here. I'm just aware that minute by minute, inch by inch of this map, we are moving further away from our last save, which makes me very uncomfortable as a gamer. Oh, so many. The grossest gang in the world.
Surely this is fake. Join the fight!
Ocean Flex! 6 falling stars! State Zero! Mustering bangs! Hey everyone! State Zero! Here goes! State Zero! Mustering bangs! Open the way forward! State Zero! Break on through! Blue Flurry! Break down!
It's interesting that some of the typical spells appear to be renamed in Zestiria, like Final Embrace. That was the one I didn't just cast, right? Which fans of other Tales games will know is very clearly absolute. And I think McLeo has one that's basically Prism Sword, but I think he might call it something different too. I wonder if the idea is just because, since it's a seraphic art rather than your typical spell in another game, it's like a case of, like the same evolutionary feature, like evolving in two different species in parallel. There's a term for that in evolutionary biology, I forget what it is. But the idea being, maybe the conceit of this world and its relationship to the other games is that it's not quite the use of magic or spellcasting in the way that other games have it, since it's more Seraphim tapping into their powers or something like that. And so the spells need their own different names. I would need to stop and think if there are any repeated names, but I feel like most of the names of the spells, even if the spells are pretty similar to what you get in other games, have different names. Not Healing Circle. That of course is a staple of the Tales series. On the battlefield's gradient makes you miss every single one of your arrow's shots in a row. Awesome. That was a great transition into armatization. I think Edna's incantation for Final Embrace, if I'm hearing her right, is guess who's going to hell? I hope that's what it is. That's hilarious. Alright, Miklia leveled up. Love that. The armatized illusion ghosts. It looks like they're in different armatizations now. An interesting skill check from Simonne, getting you to try out all of the different armatizations. Make sure you have facility with all of them. Right before the boss fight? You couldn't have sat on that? These are grunts, girl. Alright, looks like wind and water. So why don't we start with fire and earth? Maybe give us some food just to even the odds. Don't want to waste all of our best food. Oh, but a wind type damage reduction when one of them is wind element seems fitting. Alright. Let's do this. Oh, I thought there was going to be a conversation. I was wrong. Weak to physical. Alright, let's do this.
You don't really want to do this, do you?
That feeling gnawing at you is what brought us to life. Did you know that? Oh, please. We're not so dumb as to fall for that. Simonne, are you getting desperate? You go to hell!
That's pretty funny. That they're so resolved at this point of the game that what should be like a final intimidation or terror is just so hollow that they can't even bring themselves to be amused by it, let alone rattled. Pretty tightly in keeping with the rest of the game's theming, I think. Fearless optimism in the face of everything.
Damn you, Shepherd.
You're afraid, aren't you, Simonne? Afraid it will defeat Heldalf, huh?
Never! You have no chance!
Simonne believed they did have a chance. And that's how you sit on a Mystic Heart. 232! Love to see that.
Let's go.
But Symonne's just gonna throw more of her crap at us.
I bet she will, but it won't be anything we need to worry about.
Probably not. Even her illusions are starting to lose their spectacle. She can make passable imitations of Rose and Saray, sure, but it's looking like everything else is beyond her reach.
Yeah, if she could scare us with anything she wanted, you'd think there'd be more guts and stuff. Spleens.
Spleens?
Mostly spleens.
Anyway, let's keep moving forward.
Right. We don't want to let her stall us here while we talk about how bad she is at her job.
Brutal! Come on, dude. She's just a henchman. She's doing her best. Heldalf doesn't pay her enough for her to try any harder than that.
She sure is trying. It's kind of getting annoying. But I feel like the effects of her technique are weakening.
Symonne. Could it be?
It's like she's losing her will to stand with Heldalf. It's kind of sad. Almost feel like we're bullying her. Well, hopefully... I mean, A, thank God for the save point, and B, hoping this warp point will give us the opportunity to get out of here and restock on items. This takes us back to the door to the depths. Alright. I'm gonna save one more time. I don't think it's a one-way warp point, but I am concerned about that. Oh yeah, it's the same as the one back in the Trial of Water. Well, that's good. Can we fast travel out of here? That's the question. Yes. Can we go back to Logran? Yes! Finally, thank God. We can get our good items. We can even ask about Maven. Doesn't really feel like a fitting time in the story to get too sidetracked, but I mean, well, we're already here. You don't know what you got till it's gone, friends. Whew, you can even buy all divides. Although we decided they were kind of fake all divides compared to the OG standard ones that cut damage in half for all the party and all enemies. Wonder why they changed its balance in Zestiria. Sounds a little like Saray.
A beautiful explorer poet named Maven? What is going on?
I don't know, but now I'm curious.
Curious times 100.
I've got an imitator.
I wonder if someone else has taken up the mantle of storyteller, like Maven is just a name that's passed from one generation of storyteller to the next. That would be cool. Oh, we can't talk to the cat. That's the cat I had in mind for getting to Cat's Corner. But my guess is we have to recover Gramps and then he will be able to show us how to get there, since there was that talk when we were learning about how to get there of the Thunder Seraph. And we just finally learned that Gramps is that. Well, maybe not that Thunder Seraph, but it would be a hell of a coincidence if he weren't.
So it's finally over.
What an incredible finishing blow! I could feel the determination just resonating.
Rose didn't stop Saray this time.
Huh? Did she stop him before?
Yeah. Rose was the one who killed the Cardinal when we couldn't purify her. Saray's job is to give life. Mine is to take it. That's what she said.
That's so like her.
It's not like we wanted her to resort to such means, of course, but why wouldn't she stop him this time?
Saray found his answer. Rose wanted to give him strength. So, if you think about it that way, nothing's really changed.
Oh, you're right. Rose may be more considerate towards Saray than we realize.
Yeah, but you'll never know until you ask.
There's no need to ask. I believe her.
If you say so.
I assume they were talking there about Rose letting Saray purify the Cardinal Sisters. I didn't totally understand the referent of that conversation. Well, part of me wants to go explore Imitation Maven, but we'll have a whole round of side quests, and we were pretty far down the path of the ruins in the main story, so I want to go there first. I don't know why my console is so self-absorbed as to continually think I'm talking about it. I forget which of these war points is the one we want. Perfect. Got it in one. Did we really lose the warp point in here? Or am I just blind? I'm just blind. Excellent. In we go. Onward to face Symonne. I imagine.
A dead end. What? But this was the only path.
Another illusion.
We can't waste any more time. I think we'll need to come up with a way to punch through her illusions.
How?
Illusions or not, they still punch back pretty good.
I don't think the illusions will last much longer.
Huh? Why not?
Symonne is a seraph. It's gotta be hard for her to maintain her powers in the middle of all this malevolence.
Speak of the devil.
For
She's
all the
poisoning
illusions
herself.
I craft for you, your hearts refuse to budge the slightest inch. It seems I will need to take other measures. What, baton twirling? Submit yourself!
Mean. I feel kind of bad for this girl.
Symonne, you must be so...
Are you sympathizing with me? You care so much. Then succumb to the darkness!
Lila, is this an illusion too?
No, I suspect this is the real Symonne. Either way, we just gotta keep at it.
Because I don't know if it's just the way it's coming through my headphones, but her reaction noises when we hit her are so unsettling to my ears. It sounds like an automaton or something. It's totally disconnected from personality.
Be a good boy and disappear. You don't have it in your heart to kill a seraph anyway.
Why don't you speak for yourself, Toots?
Kill me if you can. And unleash your hellion nature!
Say zero! Break down!
Not the Symonne Cabal.
Say zero! Here goes!
Shepherd, Squire, all of you, if your souls refuse to be stained, then together let us dance in visions of madness!
Break down! Here goes! Open the way forward! Aim and fire!
I feel like, okay, this is a spoiler for Twilight Princess if you've somehow been sitting on that for like over 10 years. Is that 15 years old at that point? At this point? Twilight Princess is definitely getting old, but I feel like this fight would be a really cool one to do in the style of the Zant boss fight, where he like warps in between like abstract representations of a bunch of different dimensions if Symonne's like frenetic illusory magic just kind of broke down and warped them to a bunch of different environments. That would be a cool way to add to the dance of madness that she's talking about.
I need a hand! Say zero! Blistering bang! Sparking vortex!
I need to be able to move.
Say zero!
At least her clothes seem to be gone now.
Say zero! Blistering bang! Break on through!
Metempsychosis. What a great name for Mystic Art. Oh, what a great animation. Oh, I love that. It was right up there with Dex's Mystic Art in Dawn of the New World.
If you don't kill me, this stage will never know a curtain.
Symonne, that's enough.
Do you accept death? Wait! Shepard!
There it is. So that's your real face.
Let's go. I'm worried about Gramps.
Oh, sure.
It's already too late. Everything is lined up just as our Lord has planned it.
And what? You think we're the types to just turn around and run home?
Why must you fight back? The more you fight, the more you suffer. Why do you resist our Lord's vision? A world free of suffering, free of restraint. I know you haven't forgotten that Windseraph, who gave his life for the burden of his sins. The answer he reached was that of revenge. Tell me, is that not the same goal our Lord shares? By denying our Lord, are you not denying him as well?
Wow.
Dezel did suffer. I know. But he made a decision and put everything toward achieving it.
Yes, with the end goal of freedom from agony.
But Dezel was...
To resist and fight against one's own sins. Such foolishness is nothing less than the denial of the self. And for all that resistance and denial, all of the sacrifice, nothing awaits but an empty death.
Symonne, since you stopped resisting, have you ever felt truly alive?
What?
It is true that fighting back brings pain and suffering. But once you raise your head and take the first step toward your answer, wouldn't you think that is when life begins? At first, I'm sure, Dezel was trying to break free from his suffering. But even when he remembered his true past, did he curse the very sins you speak of? Did he despair and just give up?
Oh, I see.
So that's why in the end, Dezel was smiling. Why he was able to smile. Is that it, Lila?
What does that matter? If you don't reach the correct answer, you've got nothing to show for it but hollow contentment!
And when did contentment become a bad thing?
The goal is important, but that doesn't mean that the journey is not.
Mere sophistry.
Haven't you noticed by now? We're pressed for time, and yet here Lila is trying to do you a favor.
Symonne, remember what you asked me that one time? Should one who only brings misfortune be allowed to exist? Is that entity evil to the core and worthy of death?
It wasn't a question that required an answer.
But I'm answering it anyway. You don't have to think of yourself as evil. Or, I mean, it's okay if you're evil.
What?
Nicest guy in the world.
Well, I mean, that's not quite what I really wanted to say. Like,
Don't try to be eloquent.
I think all kinds of people should live. Together, we can find the way for all of us to be happy. And so you too.
You don't understand. You don't even understand how cruel you are. You talk of happiness, yet even now you snatch it away from me. I have no reason to exist if I cannot work for the cause of our Lord. No reason at all.
Will she not get it? Can I please punch her?
Let's go, Saray. Yeah.
Oof. What a pitiful character. I feel so bad for her. Oh, and the way the crying continues.
She was listening. More than that, I cannot say.
God. It puts me in mind of the end of Dawn of the New World and how we were talking about how the relationship between Dex and Alice was so kind of unexpectedly heartbreaking in a way that sneaks up on you, but God, at least in that case they had each other, and it was, you know, a sad and hopeless story, but it was one in which they found a kind of companionship and love, whereas poor Symonne is just completely isolated in her adoration and dedication to the Lord of Calamity and his principles, at the cost of herself. Now we can't even talk to her. God, that's sad. I'm looking at the time. We're obviously not going to finish this tonight. But there's so much to unpack in that conversation with her, too. So I almost feel like that's a good place to sit on it and reflect before we get back in gear on Friday. Like as trite as the line Mikleo said was, that the journey still matters even if the destination does too. I feel like there's a lot the game wants to say there about the intersection of just the nature in which we've told Saray's story, exploring the world and navigating it all over, and arriving at his finite answer, but that answer not kind of exhausting the meaning that he found in the world on his way to it, aligned with the meaning of
So this is Camlann.
people's intentions and how they manifest those in the
First
world.
time here, yet I already know the place. Feels bizarre.
It's like time has stopped ticking here.
You might be more right than you realize, considering how much power Mautellus wields.
So, this is where he died.
Lila, are you okay?
Thank you, Saray. I'm just fine.
You got a ways to the shrine still. Keep your chins up.
Quite.
We made it to Camlann. I see a save point up there. I'm going to say we play through to there, and then we can call it and look forward to what I'm sure will be a hell of a stream on Friday and a great way to kick off the weekend. Interesting, too, how Saray said that really sweet thing to Symonne. You know, it's okay if you're evil. That doesn't mean you have to die. It harkens back to what we've been talking about through a lot of the stream in terms of the difference between malevolence and evil, and the idea that, you know, Hellions are only bad insofar as they've kind of like lost themselves or experienced corruption of their relationship with their own desires or the world. They're kind of tied up in knots in terms of how they see themselves and how they treat others. Whereas, you know, the villains who were pure malevolence throughout the story, there was a certain kind of like respect and treatment of them as characters as opposed to just enemies, because they didn't need to be fixed. They just had very different ideals. And so the idea that the kind of coexistence that Saray wants to bring about, as well as the kind of coexistence where even Heldalf, someone who's kind of defined to the core by villainy and might as well be called the Great King of Evil, deserves to be saved rather than corrected or killed or something. Like, he and his perspective are something with intrinsic value just as much as the Squire and the Seraphim and all the other beings with their own intentions and perspectives on the world that populate it, like all the stars in the sky. Right?
We're survivors, no matter the odds.
Oh, there's another warp point too. You can open that up.
Battle. Let's restore our vitality.
That'll be helpful. The preemptive strike is a very small range of motion.
This is nothing.
Alright, that's opened up. We'll open up the save point, run a save, and then it looks like... Oh, look at that vista! Boy, so we'll be able to walk the path through the ruins of Camlann, all the way up to, I'm sure, Mautelis's old shrine next time. I'm excited, friends. This is definitely a different kind of finale run-up than the epic dungeon crawling of Vinheim, or even the kind of cataclysmic liminal space of the Ginnunga Gap. Well, that took me a second, in Dawn of the New World. But especially with the way we were talking and thinking about Symonne's illusions as we were navigating through those, I think, unsurprisingly for a Tales game, it's a conclusion that seems to be really well synthesized with and representative of what the themes and just content of navigating the game's story have looked like throughout all the hours we've been playing it.
You know, I can't help but feel sorry for Symonne. She must have been having a hard time coping with
That's
her
what I was saying.
To the point that she couldn't find meaning in her life until she started working for Heldalf.
And with such tremendous powers, too. It's a real shame she couldn't believe in herself.
She could have killed us with those powers of hers. I wonder if Heldalf ordered her not to.
But more than that, I'm wondering if she could have killed us. Her powers went beyond the typical domain of seraphic arts. They felt more special.
Oh, you mean like from an oath?
An oath she took not to kill anybody.
Humans, Seraphim, Hellions, whatever she's up against, she can do anything and everything but kill them. Feels like it means something, and at the same time, it doesn't.
But at the end, it felt like she was genuinely going all out on us. That's how much she wanted to kill us. Even if it meant breaking her oath, losing her powers, and defying her feline overseer.
Yes. If she hadn't been hampered by the concentration of malevolence in this area, we were very lucky.
She hated me that much.
That's a whole other topic we've been dancing around, but could have a whole 3-hour discourse about now that we're rapidly approaching the conclusion of the game and have seen the way that it unwinds its themes about malevolence and like impulsivity versus self-control, and the nature of how you're able to either do right or wrong by yourself in accordance with kind of how you govern your will. I mean, obviously the notion of an oath goes hand in hand with that, where you draw certain powers or the ability to exist within the world and interact with the world in special ways by basically intentionally limiting your agency and what it is that you're capable of doing. I think that's a key reason why we see so many characters taking oaths in the game. And I think as we peel back the different things that Zestiria wants to say about agency and the power it gives us, and how we can kind of shape ourselves in accordance with what we allow ourselves to do, and kind of the code that we conduct our behavior by, adds another level to all of those themes in that content. Interesting too, I know we didn't play through Tales of the Abyss together, but Symonne in some ways strikes me as kind of like the bad outcome cautionary tale of what could have happened to Luc von Fabre in Tales of the Abyss if he hadn't basically figured out how to get over his own sense of meaninglessness, and the concomitant unhealthy relationship that he had with kind of a mentor whom he gave himself over to completely, in kind of the same way that Symonne has willfully discarded her life for the Lord of Calamity. They're almost you could see her as sort of the shadow walking on the path that Luke ends up taking in Tales of the Abyss. All right, friends. Well, that was a good chunk of story. I think it was definitely too ambitious of me to even imagine that we could get through the finale of a Tales game in a single sitting, but that's okay, because we have plenty of time, and I'm going to say I'm cautiously optimistic now that based on the progress we made here, the side quests we have left to do, we may be able to round everything out on Friday, maybe have a bit of an extended session just to get everything said and done and reflect a little bit about it before we turn around and do the DLC next. So, as always, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to revisit this game through new eyes with a new perspective. I'm definitely seeing it in many ways that just weren't actively on my mind the first time that I played through it. And I'm really going to be thinking about poor Symonne over the next couple days. Hers, I think, is a sad and quiet story, kind of doomed to be relegated to a footnote in the saga of the shepherd and his heroism and his battle against the Lord of Calamity. So, this one's for you, Symonne. We'll be pouring one out for you, and hope you find another purpose before all is said and done in this world, so that you can live beyond and better than Heldalf did. Cheers, everyone. Thank you for joining me, and game well until Friday. Tales of Praxis will be back, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, hopefully to wrap up Tales of Zestiria, but plenty more to enjoy yet, and I'm looking forward to it with you. Until then, see you next time.